Martin became a health coach after overcoming serious health challenges. Many great healers have their own hero journey stories of overcoming difficult and often life altering challenges. Martin's health was dramatically altered for the worse when, at age 25, he received 12 mercury fillings. Determined to reclaim his well being, Martin embarked on an arduous yet enlightening path of self-discovery. For 10 years, he immersed himself in a wealth of knowledge, reading thousands of pages of literature and report. And this was before the internet, but he really had to do some research. It was in pursuit, though, of holistic healing, which was so essential to him. Armed with newfound insights and fueled by a relentless spirit, he invested in over $100,000 into his journey toward restoration. In 2001, Martin traded his career as a management consultant for building a health coach business called Life Enthusiast and a superfood manufacturing business called Exula. Today, Martin's legacy helps people discover how genetics and lifestyle intersect to create either illness or health. His steadfast commitment to healing, deep empathy, and tireless dedication serve as a beacon of inspiration for those navigating their journey toward vibrant health and vitality. Martin, I'm really excited to have you on because my community is really looking to understand how to put a little bit more emphasis on preventative care because chronic disease has happened a lot in their families and they don't want to go down the same rabbit hole. So I'm just really grateful for you to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, as I'm listening to you read my life story, I mean, it's written in a flowery language. And so it's a little like bigger than life. But in fact, when I reflect back, right, it's three things that stick out. If it doesn't break you, or even if it breaks you, if you decide to overcome it, then you do. But you need to take agency. You need to stop being victim and you need to just decide, this is up to me. They, whoever they is, are not going to save me. I have to save me. And that's the one thing, right? That's the one thing that will drive any person to success. As long as you decide that you're doing it because you want to, you have the free will to do it, right? It's not done to me. I'm doing it.
How did you have, though? I mean, I just think back to when I was 25 and still understanding who I was as a person. How did you know I need to start doing this now so that this doesn't even become worse than what it already is?
Oh, it was not easy. I was fully indoctrinated into our culture, right? I trusted the professionals. I believed in medical insurance. I believed in good government. I believed the whole thing.
Hmm.
And I had to give up all of that, right? Because when I started breaking down, like my body really went to pieces.
Mm.
I had back problems, plantar fasciitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, migraines. What else did I? All kinds of problems, lots of problems. I was in pain a lot.
Mm.
And anyway, so first I went to the orthopedic surgeon. He said, "Well, we got this wonderful thing. It's called cortisone shot."
Hmm.
For 6 weeks, I felt great, but
Yep.
it wore off, and then I felt worse than before. Or the problems that I was having were mainly physical, like my body was falling apart.
Hmm.
So I went to chiropractors. I found a great guy. It was awesome. What a skilled technician. He would put me back together. But the mercury breaks down your gut and breaks down your ability to actually make proteins correctly. So I was, in fact, that the discs that are between the vertebrae, they are like the cushions that are cushioning the gravity and the action.
Yep.
But when they are weak, They look like an underinflated tire. They splay out and they're wobbly.
Yeah.
So I was just losing my integrity all the time. So I would go have an adjustment. Sometimes I was good for 5 days, sometimes for one day, right?
Mhm.
I just had to keep going back, put me back together. But never in that whole cycle did this professional, the surgeon or the chiropractor or the naturopath that I sought out, they never asked, what's the cause of this? They would only fix the problem on the face. I'm
Right.
present bad back. Well, let's fix the bad back. Never did they ask, but what's behind it? What's the cause?
Hmm.
And that's the difference between the allopathic mainstream medicine and the functional, where in functional medicine, you ask, to give an example, right? You pick a restaurant owner comes to you and says, I have this horrendous rat problem behind the restaurant. They're just all over. So if you come to a doctor, he says, oh yeah, rats. Yeah, we got poison. We'll poison the rats and we can shoot them too. Let's go shoot them. Well, rats come out at night, so you're shooting in the dark. You're killing neighborhood pets and raccoons
Hmm.
with the rats. And then you have poisoned the rat. It died. The eagle ate it and died because of that. And then, like, the mayhem spreads out through the community and the rat problem continues. Now, if you come to a functional practitioner, the first question is, let's take a look. Oh, what's this? What's this garbage can behind your restaurant where you put all the scraps? That's what they're eating. That's what's feeding them.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that. The rats will either starve, well, they will starve and they'll move on or die. So that's the difference between the standard approach. If you go to a current medical insurance covered care, they will always just say, oh, yeah, symptoms. You have a headache, but your headache is not caused by a deficiency in Excedrin.
Hmm.
Your breast cancer is not caused by a deficiency in tamoxifen. Okay? So when you start asking, but what is the cause of this, you'll arrive at a different place. And that's what we practice here, is where we ask for what the causes are.
Yeah. No, it's important. I feel a lot of times that either doctors don't study anything regards to nutrition. Also, I just feel like bedside manner has kind of gone out the window. So then people feel uncomfortable to voice, hey, this is feeling bad, but I think it's because of this. Doctors kind of laugh it off and be like, oh, well, you said it's a migraine. So let's just work on that one little problem. There's so much inside of us that we need to explore, like explore the deficiencies, like you were saying. Just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
You know, in my previous life, I was working in the information technology industry. My degree is in computer science and business administration. So I'm actually a nerd and a geek and economist and all that before health, right?
Okay.
That was after. I used my skills as management consultant to figure out the health problem.
Mm.
But anyway, back then, 1980s, 90s, uh, I was working in a company. We developed software for doctors. And I clearly remember this very nattily dressed man, 38-year-old, spotless, gorgeous looking guy, saying, oh, yeah, we need to have this appointment book and we need to stack them. I need an appointment every 5 minutes, because he had a huge school debt and a mortgage and a cabin and a boat, and he wanted it all. And
Mhm.
here's how he described it. Oh, yeah. They come in, blah, blah, hello, hello. And then it takes me 30 minutes to figure out what I need to do. And then it takes me 4.5 minutes to get rid of them. Yep. That's how he put it.
Wow.
And successful doctor, right?
Yeah.
And it's so they are taught to be diagnosticians. They are supposed to figure out what's up and write a prescription. But if you have something like fibromyalgia, which is an illness of about 15 different symptoms, and drugs are developed to cover a single symptom, you now have to start taking this for the pain, this for the headache, this for the dizziness, this for the tiredness, this for the whatever, right? And then by the time you have 5 or 6 things in, they start interacting with one another, and you have to start taking things that will cover the side effects of the combinations, all of which could have been avoided if. And this took me years to figure out, but I put it in 4 categories, which is toxicity, malnutrition, stagnation, and trauma.
Mhm.
These 4 categories, when you've dealt with all of those, you have actually removed the impediment to the homeostatic system within our body to actually work correctly.
Yeah.
So in this global overview, 30,000-foot view, this is simple, right? However, right now, toxicity. We are in the industrial age, urban living. With each succeeding year, we're depositing more and more chemical stuff into the environment.
Right.
Like every ton of glyphosate that is manufactured is put on a field somewhere, and it gets into the water table somewhere, and it poisons someone somewhere. The mercury, that was my story, right? That was put into the amalgam fillings. The doctor called it the silver fillings. I had the choice between silver fillings and white fillings. He didn't say the white fillings, they're porcelain. They don't last as long. They only last 15 years. Whereas the metal fillings, they last 30 years. He didn't say, by the way, that's silver. That's actually amalgamed with mercury. And mercury is the most toxic things that you can put in your body. These days you hear about it. Don't
Yeah.
eat tuna. There's mercury in tuna. At the same time, you don't hear the fact that there is mercury in flu shots.
No.
What? Flu shots?
I don't think I knew that actually. Also, more stuff has been getting put into whether that's our shots or our food and the environment, as you were saying. So, how can one not be overwhelmed by all the things that they can't always control? What can they control?
Yeah, that's a great question, really, because stuff happens, right? Like stuff comes at us all the time, and there's always more things to do than we have time for, or there's always more danger than we can cope with. So we have to choose, right? Just focus. Stephen Covey was the philosopher that I loved the most. His book back in 1987, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
I've heard of it.
Awesome. Recommend it to anyone. But anyway, he talked about getting your focus of or area of concern over top of your area of influence. So concern yourself with stuff that you can do something about
Mm.
wherever you have agency. So anyway, talking about the toxicity, well, it comes to you on the air, in your water, in your food, in your cosmetics, in your laundry, in your clothing, in your furniture, in your car. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it depends how sick you are or how loaded you are with this terrible stuff. You need to start gently or you need to go radical. Some people, when they break down hard. I was one of those. I was broke down hard. How do I best describe it? It's like a straw that breaks the camel's back. You're doing okay, doing okay, doing okay. Oh, the water's so high, I can't even talk now, but I can still breathe. Oh, now I have to start hopping to take a breath. And if it's up to here, I can't hop high enough. It's over. Right.
Right.
So that's the accumulation of the problems. And they could come in the form of the toxicity or some kind of a stressor, like, I don't know, an emotional breakdown, relationship breakdown, death of a loved one, some sort of a thing like that, or a car accident, or just a simple food poisoning could be the last straw, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to what you're asking, how do we break it down? Well, one thing at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One steak at a time. So likewise with this, right? So let's just say, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up my water.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm going to not be drinking water that's sold to me in plastic bottles because plastic bottles have what is that plastic softener. Well, there's some BPA.
Yep.
That's right. Well, when a pallet of bottles is sitting on a truck somewhere in sunshine in Utah, it gets cooked. And you don't want to drink that water because that is going to affect your endocrine system and you're going to have problems.
Right.
Men start growing boobs, women start having menstrual problems, fertility issues, stuff like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's just one thing, right? So,
Yeah.
okay, fix your water.
Fix your water.
Drink only from glass
Hmm.
or stainless steel if you want. And that we sell gadgets. We sell gadgets that will structure the water. I'll show you this. Like up here in this bottle, there's these little pellets. They are uh, ceramic devices that actually break down the clustering of the water. So when you decluster water, it has lower surface tension and it gets into cells better. So it transports nutrients in and toxins out with greater efficiency. No big
Interesting.
deal. 40
Yeah.
bucks
Amazing. And then they can just, how long can those last?
until you break them. They're
Okay.
ceramic forever.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's a tool that you can deploy, right?
Right.
Drink water, filtered. Why do we put chlorine in water?
Why?
To kill microbes. What will the chlorine do in your body?
Kill micro.
Kill microbes.
Yeah.
What's that mean to your inner terrain, your microbiome? It's like warfare.
Hmm.
Do not drink chlorinated, unfiltered water. Do not let your children drink it in school from the fountains.
I have a 7-month-year-old, and I'm just really trying to reduce like toxicity in the household. And so every little thing that I've been learning from my guests or been
Mhm.
listening to, it's astounding to me how many things we have to think of now these days.
Right. Yeah, well, but it's a whole box, right? So
Yeah,
we talked about water. So you fixed water. You no
right.
longer have to think about water. It becomes automatic. I do not drink unfiltered water.
I do
I
not
do
drink
not
unfiltered.
drink water from plastic. I
Yes.
do not drink hot coffee through the plastic lid,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hot
Exactly.
liquid on soft plastic endocrine disruptor.
Yeah.
So picture number one. Two, the smelly things, the fragrances, they are endocrine disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't
Mm-hmm.
go scent free.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so on. One thing after another, gradual. Okay, if you are sensitive, don't buy a new car. Let somebody else have the trouble. Buy a 2-year-old car. It will have gas stop and it will no longer smell like a new car. That's a win.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the toxicity business, right? Like if you do have industrial toxins in your body, all of us do actually. Zeolite is an awesome absorber of these sort of things. It's available. We have it in our website. You can buy it as a powder, as a capsule, as a liquid. So depends. It's super effective at binding the toxic things and dragging them out of your body. It's when you lower the toxicity, I was doing this metaphor
Mm-hmm.
of the level rising. Well, as you're emptying this bucket that's been filled with wrong things, you will have more headspace, headroom,
Mm-hmm.
therefore less likely to overreact. Anyway, so we have the toxicity to deal with.
Yeah.
Nutrition is an issue for
Mm-hmm.
sure. These large food manufacturers are presenting us with super addictive things. They have so studied this thing. I know it for myself. If you put me in front of a bag of Doritos, I cannot eat one. I'll eat all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Zero chance, no resistance. Because, and I will rationalize. Oh, just one more. It's no big deal.
I don't do it this often. Yeah.
But I mean, the only way I know how to cope with it is I never have it in the house.
Right.
Because if you put it in front of me, I'll eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's addictive, right? And
Mm-hmm.
these foods, they're scientifically constructed to be seductive.
Yeah.
Then you have the problem of calorie density versus nutrient density. we're really good at making calorie-rich, nutrient-poor meals. Stuff that's made with flour. Donuts, pizzas, calzones, tacos, burritos, all of those things are really rich in calories, but the calorie to nutrient ratio is off. So your body says, I need nutrition, keep it coming.
Hmm.
But by that time, you have 600 calories too much every day. No chance of staying skinny if you don't that.
Not at all. It's unbelievable the amount of crud that's in our diet. Even some of the fruits and vegetables we eat, they're just sprayed with so much pesticides. They're even showing that with the organic. And then you're wondering, well, where do I go for my groceries? Because they're now starting to kill me. It's just this.
You know, there's a really interesting treasure buried in what you just said, which is this consumer choice. Like
Mhm.
all of us vote with our wallets. The dollar that I spend is like an oxygen in the economy. Wherever you put that dollar, that grows. So if only enough of us would switch to just insisting that it be non-GMO, gluten-free, whatever, it would happen. It would absolutely happen. It only takes about 20% to swing any market
Mhm.
because the margins are not that rich, right? So there's a story about spinach. There was this genetically tested and herbicided, pesticided, whatever, industrial spinach that was being sold. And then some hippie types decided, no, we're going to go and make organic, healthy, non-toxic spinach and
Yeah.
started selling it. And it caught on. And it actually went to the point where the Costco's and Kroger's of this world have switched. You now see these nice boxes of spring greens and pure spinach and all of that. And it's all grown without herbicide and pesticide. Like you
Yeah.
can take it right out of the box. It's that easy. No danger.
Yeah. And triple washed. I'm starting to see too that they actually clean it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
that's consumer choice. We consumers have done it. Now we can do that to coffee if we start buying shade grade, bird friendly coffee only.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
So when you're saying no, the 20%, are you saying that when we give our money to a grocery store, that our dollar goes far there? Or are you saying that
No,
our government, the role of the government, something
no,
like
no, no,
okay.
neither. No,
Okay.
no. Role of the consumer. If
Okay.
20% of us that have been buying this brand switch to that brand, that's enough to
Got it.
kill the brand that we live.
Got it.
All
Understood.
of us, if all of us decided that we're not shopping at Exxon and we're only buying from Shell, Exxon will die. Yeah.
Okay. Totally understand now. So then regarding though our government policies in food, medicine, and all the chemicals going on, what
Mm,
can we do as consumers to
okay.
help out?
Well, one, as much as you're able, cook from scratch.
Mhm.
Do not buy the finished things because they are hiding stuff in. Look at the list of ingredients. I travel, and so back in Europe, ketchup has 8 ingredients. In Africa, it has 4. In the United States, it has 28, right?
Yep, it's crazy. Yeah.
Go taste ketchup in Europe. It's savory and on the sour side. In US, it tastes like candy.
Mhm. Everything's so sweet here is
Yeah,
what I've noticed, and whenever I've traveled, I'm like, "Wow, a tomato tastes like a tomato, a strawberry tastes like a real strawberry." It it's all again, I keep coming back to this overwhelming though as consumers and
mhm,
us trying to
yeah,
find
mhm,
ways to
yeah,
strengthen ourselves so that we can be great consumers and
yeah.
understand our right.
Right. Well, it's by action.
Mhm.
I mean, you read it in the bio. I am a CEO of a food manufacturing company called Exula Superfoods, and we make green, mostly green, brown, ugly colored blends that you can put into smoothies. 1 or 2, 3 teaspoons of that a day, and you have made up for all the sins of the industrial age. So $3, $4 a day of that will make up for all kinds of stuff there, because we will have all the vitamins, pigments, terpenes, minerals, all of that will be present in that much. But you cannot get that in a multivitamin that's been compressed into something the size of the tip of your finger. Because
Right.
by the time you get that compressed, you had to give up a whole lot of important things.
Hmm.
I can't make it smaller than about a tablespoon,
Hmm.
which would
You
be about 24 capsules.
you've been doing this since 2001, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you started with health coaching. How did you develop though your supplemental business? What was that moment where you said, enough's enough. I need to bring these products to the market?
It wasn't like that. There was an inventor. I was partner with him. And this was a gifted fellow. You know, these inventor dreams that happens sometimes. This
Yeah.
fellow, age about 30, was so devastated by toxicity that gave him allergies that were so awful that he was essentially praying to God, please take me out of here or find me a way to solve this.
Wow.
And sure enough, he woke up from a dream, and it was 12 specific components that were given to him in the dream, puts all of this together. And
Wow.
he did on the kitchen table right back in 1987. And it grew from there. And so, yeah, we partnered, yeah, 1999. And so when we went online, that was one of the brands that we carried. Unfortunately, this fellow passed in 2020.
Mm.
COVID days.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of change then.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's it's not all me, right? It's
Right.
on the shoulders of others we stand and carry the message forward.
That's amazing. And you have a lot of products, but I also love that you place health coaching as the highest priority and you find that it to be super
Mhm.
like effective. It's not something that people will just completely stop. It's once they realize all these things are going on, they can find ways to sustain it.
Mhm. Right. And just to explain, we underprice it. We really give away a lot. First of all, first 15 minutes
Mhm.
are free. And
Wow.
then do you want to carry on? And then it's still $30 for a 15-minute vlog. So even then, it's not unaffordable. And most people get their answers in the first 15 minutes anyway.
Incredible.
So I'm actually a certified metabolic typing advisor, CMTA, which is one of those science divisions that understands how genetics and food interact or
Mhm.
intersect. And we're able to help people understand what makes them acid or what makes them alkaline, which actually isn't simple because there are two types. The same way as you could be left-handed or right-handed, you could be alkalizing by starches or alkalizing by fats and proteins.
Mhm.
So you could be like a mirror image of the other. So you don't know ahead of time what's going to alkalize you until you try. And then here's the message. Alkalinity, people who are overly alkaline, like way deep alkaline, are depressed. Under there is maybe despondence, and mild version of that would be procrastination. Pleasant people who get along really nicely with everyone else, but they tend to put things off. They don't get a lot done.
Mm.
Whereas the people who drift into acidity, they get up early, are super motivated to get stuff done, but tend to be abrasive, no social graces. And then when it gets further on out, it's anger, like road rage, cutting people off, just being very careless. And there's another word for it, like unkind to others.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
then it can go into either this anger expression or it could be self-directed, which is called anxiety, where you are either rehearsing the future in fearful way, or you're reliving the past, just regretting what you did do or didn't do, and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Acidity. And
Right.
so we have these three: starch, fat, and protein. And depending on the ratios of these on the plate, you will end up drifting into one or the other or balanced.
Mm.
Balanced is good. And so we can do that. We can, depending on people, how they are, some wake up too acidic and they need to eat something starchy to get more normal. And if you give them something that's on the fat side, they get even worse. Right? If you do the wrong thing, you just dysregulates the emotional coping.
Once you understand where you are in that spectrum, what is then the role of genetics in managing your weight? Because that's a
Oh,
huge
so
problem.
there's the other one. So we have this other thing. It's called the endocrine dominance,
Mhm.
and we have 3 types for men, 4 types for women. And well, I'll describe it. The names we have for it is thyroid, adrenal, pituitary, and women could also have ovarian dominance.
Mm.
And the thyroid types, I'm a good illustration of that. I think you are also.
Yes.
The the thyroid types have a preference for starchy foods,
Mhm.
especially after dinner, especially if they don't do what's right. And what is right for them is 3 meals about equal size, each of them with some protein.
Mhm.
Thyroid type will get skinny on a keto diet, will gain weight with starch, lose weight with.
Mhm.
The adrenal dominant is usually built like a weightlifter or a linebacker, or in women, the gymnasts, short, stocky, deep chest, big shoulders, big thighs, big ankles. Their food that tempt them would be savory, not sweet. They couldn't care less about popcorn or donuts.
Mm.
They want a steak or something like that. Anyway, they're different. They will gain weight on fat and lose weight with salads. So keto diet for an adrenal is a weight gain program.
Interesting.
And then there is the pituitary. Pituitary people tend to be really brainy. They are mostly tempted by creamy things like yogurts and fluffy things, whipping cream and ice cream and that sort of thing. And their health food, if you can believe it, are all the organ meats: liver, heart, kidneys, tongue, all the stuff that to a thyroid person, that's, oh, you gotta be kidding. Right? The thyroid
Yeah.
types are more into the lighter foods like fish and egg and chicken, maybe. That's it.
Mhm.
Steak, maybe, but not often.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. I was like, that's totally my husband's. Just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right. And of course, yeah, opposites attract. So you will see. And there, it is not totally edgy, right? We can be on a cusp between one and the other, and you
Right.
can decide which you are. Like, anyway, there are differences. Oh, the last one I should mention. So women, especially those who really like hot foods, like spicy hot, Mexican, Thai, Indian hot foods, it tends to stimulate the ovaries and the production of estrogen, and it gives these women an over accentuated feminine characteristics. So they would be typically, I don't know, size 2 from waist up and size 6 from waist down, or
Interesting.
or or the Kardashian model,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Big hips. Yeah. So that's the hot food. I guess if you stay skinny, you end up with Jennifer Lopez or something like that. And
It,
it's only in women, and it's only until the menopause. After menopause, they revert to one of the 3.
oh, interesting. Man, women, we just have it. We always get it all. Like
Well,
that's something I've learned over the year.
well,
Like hormones.
you have this built-in gift. You
Mhm.
can create life,
True.
right? I mean, that is such
100%.
a phenomenal thing. We, as in men, we have to try real hard to build something or create something or leave something behind. As a woman, you have it built in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's beautiful, and I was shocked. Like, I would have never thought in a million years that that was something I felt like I did hard, hard labor. I felt so accomplished after that, and I know my husband did too because he managed, all of the emotions and the hormones going through me, but when we just saw that life work, I can't believe
Yeah.
this was made.
You know,
It's
when a
incredible.
newborn enters the room, there is something spectacular that happens, right? Like there's this new life, uh, and people who have not sat with it probably don't appreciate it. But it's and of course it's been technology removed. A lot of people don't experience that like really close up.
Yeah.
But this close up new life is it's life altering experience.
Yeah. We, did this thing called hypnobirthing, and it
Oh,
was
did you?
yeah, it was so incredible to go through that journey with my husband because we took a 6-week course, and then we did these mindful meditations, and I just felt it got us both in the right headspace before
Mm,
I went in, and we went to a
yeah.
hospital still, but we had a hypnobirthing hospital, like very supportive staff that understood our preferences and what we needed. And, you know, it was really magical.
Yeah. I don't put it on my resume, but I'm a trained hypnotherapist.
No
And
way. That's awesome.
so, yeah, I very much appreciate the power of the managing the states, right? And
Hmm.
part of this is, as I started talking about the autonomic nervous system and the two branches, the sympathetic and parasympathetic, the fight or flight, or the rest and repair, which is associated with either acidity or alkalinity, which you can actually affect by what you eat.
Hmm.
That stuff, the autonomic nervous system, controls what happens in your body that you normally don't think about. Your breathing, your heart beating, your digestion happening, and all of that. That's the autonomic nervous system.
Hmm.
So when you switch over into fight or flight, which happens when you go acidic, your digestion shuts down, your ability to repair yourself is gone. Everything is shunted over into the periphery so you can either fight the danger or run away from it, the flight.
Hmm.
So
Sorry.
what you are able to do with the management of your birth experience was
Yeah.
to stay off of the ledge and stay in the state that is relaxed despite the high level of stress that's happening.
Yeah.
Mm,
When you work with people on their genetic makeup
mm.
and figuring out what nutrients they need more of, what is something that people are too afraid to give up?
Oh, cool. Well, I would say that wheat as such, gluten specifically,
Mhm,
is more addictive than something like cocaine
mhm,
because it has in it a built-in component. It's one of the anandamides, the bliss molecule, right? So
mhm.
when you eat that, it calms you down and it sends these bliss molecules to your brain. And so it's really hard to give up because it calls you.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be a challenge. Then you need to find the motivation, or you can find replacements, right? We have this problem with wheat in America. That problem does not exist in Italy because they still grow the wheat they stand to the standard used back in the Roman Empire days.
Right.
In America, we have wheat that has way more protein to it, and these days it's also treated with glyphosate. So
Mhm.
people who travel to Europe or to Italy specifically can eat all the pizza and pasta they want with no ill effect. They come back, do the same thing, and they have a blowout.
Yep.
Another problem food is dairy, milk. The
Mhm.
northern cows, like the Holsteins and Jerseys and the likes, they have greater yield, they give more. So that's why the industrial dairy is using them. But the southern cow, buffalo, which is common in India and southern Italy and southern France, produces different milk. that is less irritating to the human, I don't know what, immunity.
Mhm.
So you could go again. I recall this client goes home to India, eats all the paneer she wants. That's the yogurt made with Indian. She
Mhm.
comes back to America. There are really competent dairy makers here. Anyway, can't eat it here.
Yeah.
Causes inflammation that just doesn't end. Let me just highlight inflammation. As
Sure.
inflammation is something that is the body attempting to repair itself. Right? There are actually 5 symptoms to inflammation, which is redness, swelling, heat, which those you will notice when you twist your ankle or hit your thumb or something like that,
Mhm.
pain, and loss of function. So when you twist your ankle, yes, you have loss of function. You won't walk on it. And yes, it will hurt. And yes, it will be swollen. And yes, it will be red and hot.
Mhm.
If you have an inflammation in your gut, that's like millions of one tiny little pricks, pin pricks hitting you in the gut. So if you're inflamed in the gut, you will see swelling. Belly will swell up.
Yeah.
The most common examples of it are these beer guts swollen out, right?
Right.
That's inflammation in the belly.
Mhm.
It's
My 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 father had passed away in 2016, and I noticed that afterwards I was building some inflammation in the gut. And I did go to gluten a lot, beer here and there, but for the most part, it was gluten pizzas. I was just grabbing all the starchy things possible. And it
well,
was very challenging. And I had to make sure as I learned more about gut health, microbiome, as soon as I let some of that go and my stress,
yeah.
it all went down. It's
Mhm.
amazing. Just little changes that you can make. And I really want to really focus in on that with our audience. It's like we want to make sure that you can take small steps to make big changes.
Right. So toxicity, you need to
Mhm,
get rid of it. Clean the inputs. Stop bringing it in. Whatever's already inside you needs to come out.
mhm.
Nutrition, malnutrition, you need to compensate for horrible results that this industrial food production is giving us. It's pathetic. It's mainly because the soils have been depleted. When you fertilize the soil with NPK, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium,
Mhm,
the plants grow fast and big, but they don't have the time to actually get the nutrients.
mhm.
So they're pretty, but they're hollow.
Right.
There are studies that out there online, you can find it, that show that today, example, broccoli is 10% of mineral density of what it was 150 years ago. That means that you now have to eat 10 pounds of broccoli to make a 1 pound contribution that your grandmother had.
See.
It's frightful.
Yeah.
That's why you eat organic and perhaps even biodynamic. And maybe that's why you need to go and take a look at the Exula Superfoods and see if you can make up the gap.
Yeah, definitely. Now, how can people connect with you?
The website's called Life Enthusiast. And it's written life-enthusiast.com.
Mhm.
And there's contact forms and chat support and telephone number.
Amazing.
Reach out.
And then all your products are through Exula, or is that
No,
also
no, they're on the Life
you?
Enthusiast website. It's all
Oh,
there.
amazing. Perfect.
Yeah,
So,
the podcasts are there. Oh, I actually do weekly podcasts on Telegram. If somebody wants to hear me uncensored, I can really let it go because Telegram does not have any breaks on.
amazing. So it's on Telegram. Is it also called Life Enthusiast or something else? Amazing.
Life Enthusiast.
My God, make it simple. I love it. You're making it simple for people to find you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have interviews where people have 5 different things, and I love that everything is just centralized. Just wanted to throw that
Thank
out
you.
there. Yeah. And you also have a YouTube channel as well, Life Dash
Mm.
Enthusiast. And I wanted to end, I love this question. I love asking it, and it's all pertaining to stress. How has stress saved your life?
This is really important. It's a great question. So, first of all, it's not what happens, it's how you respond. And there's a difference between respond and react. And super stressed people don't respond, they react.
Mm.
Find some way to count to 10 before you react. So, stress in me, that is the main learning for me, because as a younger person, I had a little less response control, right?
Mm.
So how has stress saved my life? Let's try and go a different way about it. Well, stress is a, a response to an input. So I guess if I didn't respond in the way I do, I would by now be probably dead or in a wheelchair.
Mm.
The stress of what happened in my life made me into the person that I am, which these days I'm quite confident that I can help people, guide them through the change of whatever they're doing to build health rather than build dependency on drugs.
Incredible.
Does
Thank
that
you.
work for you?
Oh my gosh, yes, that works. There was so many nuggets, and I know so many people are going to respond to this podcast episode. So, Martin, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. And when we aired this, or when we recorded this, it was your birthday. So I just want to wish you a very happy birthday too.
Yeah. 72 turns already. Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
72 years young.
Oh yeah. Well, I have plans. I don't have time for aging. I have other
You have
plans.
other plans. I love it.
I think that's a good one. Make plans.
Hmm.
Make God laugh. Make plans.
I like that a lot. Thank you so much. And everyone, please share your takeaways. Go to life-enthusiast.com. Connect with Martin and his team. Excellent resources. And I really hope you enjoyed today. Make sure that you be kind to yourself on this self-love journey. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you so much, Sam.
If you're still listening to this episode, that means you're going to receive something very special, some insights into what's in store this season. Yes, don't worry. I have amazing guests that are going to be hopping on the pod, sharing their stories, tips on how to reduce stress, and of course, healthy solutions. What you are going to get in addition to that are more stories from me. You see, the word of 2025 for me is speak. And I want to speak more because oftentimes we silence ourselves, we take a back seat. And so I want to share stories with you where maybe I failed at something, but it taught me a lesson, or I took a risk and it really paid off. These are the moments that we all should continue to share. And I want you to know that wherever you're at, you can do it too. It's just taking a step forward so then you can have some momentum to take the next series of steps to hit that goal. I can't wait to share them with you. So make sure that you subscribe to Stress Free Solutions today. And don't forget to share with your friends, your coworkers, your family, and of course, as always, I want you to be kind to yourself on this self love journey.